The Mishnah's main topic was how to do Hazmana. But as always, there's so many little things that were implied in the Mishnah as well. The whole thing about Meiser was apparently, we're finding now, a little nugget about Meiser is embedded in the Mishnah as well, indirectly, right? Because that's what Rashi said. They picked a case that would be without Meiser. Shviz. Implying that if it had been during the regular years of the Shemitah cycle, when Meiser is an issue, you would have had to take Meiser. But we see further on in the Gemora, that's a bit controversial if you think about it. Because we're talking about fruit
on the roof.
It's on the roof, it's not really that edible. It's like partially edible. It's really muksa.
Those two Mishnahs that they bring actually contradict each other in a sense. Kids hide the fruit away. You're not allowed to eat until they take Meiser.
Right.
And the other one, you can eat it, the family, the sons, and everyone can eat it. But as an array, I guess.
No, but the thing you're not remembering is that the first Mishnah, which chronologically is actually after, if you look at Maseches Meiser, the one we had brought first in our Gemora is really in the fourth parak,
right.
And the second one that's brought in our Gemora is from the third parak. But okay, but the point being that the first one our Gemora brought, which actually makes sense in a way because our Mishnah talking about Shabbos, Erev Shabbos and Shabbos.
Yeah.
That Mishnah from Maestros was talking about Shabbos.
Right.
And that's the answer to your question. Because that was the Chiddush of that Mishnah, that if they thought to eat it for Shabbos, even though normally it would have been Pater, but just thinking to use it for Shabbos made it Chayiv.
Isn't the second one also about Shabbos?
No, I don't think so.
It's fruit on the roof. That's not so, right?
The second one? Didn't talk about it in the roof, they talked about it in the Chatzar.
No,
They brought it into the Chatzar.
No,
They brought it into the Chatzar, but they had thought to do something else with it, Liktsos.
Yes.
So they were gonna crush it, but it didn't end up on the roof. It ended up in the Chatzar. It's in the Chatzar, and the Chatzar should be the place where it's Chayiv and Meiser.
And not the roof. It's in the bottom.
No, roof is not yet. But the truth of the matter is, in a Chatzar, having in mind to do more, it turns out, is pretty much like on the roof, because I mean it's not yet finished. Not yet finished. So being in the Chatzar didn't really make a difference, because it's not finished, therefore...
There's lots of Shabbos, right?
I don't think that one's talking about Shabbos.
Otherwise they could... Why wouldn't they be able to eat it? You can eat raisins whenever you want, or raisins in process.
It says you can eat them.
But, yeah.
It doesn't mention Shabbos.
So why would they bring it up? No, they call it muktzah?
I mean, because it said the word muksa?
Yeah.
No. It says Ma'avir te'enim b'chatzero.
Right.
Liksos Laksos banav v'nevesa ochli mehem arai. No mention of Shabbos, no mention of muksa.
Right. Okay.
The muksa was mentioned afterwards in the Shaila that Rava asked Rav Nachman.
Yes.
That's when it was mentioned. That's what he wanted to know.
Why would there even be a question that they put this stuff out to dry and the household can eat it without taking mice?
Because we all know the rule that in the Chatzar or in the Bayis, it's Chayiv and Meiser. So we would have thought it's just a rule. It's like a rule that you have to respect. Anytime you bring it into the Chatzar, you automatically have to take Meiser. The answer is no. It's if it comes into the Meiser as a finished product, it comes into the Chatzar or the house as a finished product, then it's Chayiv.
Okay, and this is more an oral snack, right?
No, that's another thing. The snack part is another thing. No. You're mixing up two things.
Yeah, I'm mixing it up.
No, forget about the snack. Mm-hmm. Right, first question. Is this food Chayiv and Meiser? If it's Chayiv and Meiser, then even a snack can be Chayiv.
The first one, because they were going to eat it on Shabbos, it's Chayiv Meiser. Right? On Shabbos makes it Cheshuvos, right?
Right.
It's okay, because of So thinking about Tsama, right?
Huh?
It's pleasant. It's a pleasant thing. It raises makes it into a meal.
That's right.
The second one is not on Shabbos.
Right.
It's just in the Chatzar.
Right.
Which is
But
like...
it's not a finished product.
It's not a finished product.
That's the chiddush of that mission, that even though it came to the Chatzar, and normally that would make something chayiv and meiser, but the fact that you want to continue doing other things to it, dry it out and crush it, etc.,
Okay.
means it's not a finished product, and therefore the Chatzar doesn't work its magic on it. Therefore, it's just like outside, that we say if it's not a finished product, you still eat from it.
So that's the question. Can Shabbos make something chayiv for Meiserus, whether it's finished or unfinished?
Right.
Okay.
We know that it can overcome certain things, right? Like the fact that it hasn't yet reached the house, it overcomes that.
Right.
Does it also overcome the restriction of not having become a finished product?
Right.
So let's put it this way. Normally, between both of the Mishnayos, you find out two factors, really. Two normal factors in Meiser, and one how Shabbos interacts with it. To be chayiv in Meiser, turns out you need two factors to work together.
One is the end product.
It has to be a finished product, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's going to be Shabbos.
And it has to be inside of a house or a chutzner. Normally that's the rule. That's what the second Mishnah really says if you think about it. You need both, but one without the other is not sufficient. So we know that Shabbos can overcome one of those factors, the need for to be in the house. That's what the first Mishnah told us. And since they thought to use it for Shabbos, even though it's still out in the field, it's chayiv. And that's the question. Shabbos is so chashuv that it overcomes only one of those factors that you normally need, or even both factors. That was his question. To which Rav Nachman said,
yes, right.
It overcomes both.
Right.
And then he said to him, but maybe it only overcomes one. Whatever his need to reiterate his question, he reiterated it basically. To which Rav Nachman
It's a long term.
told him, yes, I've learned this. Don't question me, little grasshopper. I have learned this. It's already been in my hand for many years. Don't.
Grasshopper's a nice way.
So then we have Rav Zera, I believe, saying not only did Rav Nachman have it some kind of Kabbalah, but I even feel it's implied in the Mishnah, our Mishnah. That's why it's being brought here. Because our Mishnah has embedded in it an extra message about Meiser indirectly. Even though officially our Mishnah picked Shemitah to avoid this discussion of Meiser. But the very fact that it did that shows you that without it being Shemitah, it would have been part of the discussion. The Meiser would have been part of the discussion. And that means it really would have been Chayiv in Meiser in a regular year. So therefore you see that even though it's not a finished product.
Yeah, it's not a finished product.
And the truth of the matter is, it's also not been brought into the house, theoretically, unless you learn like the Rashi and Chalvav. Remember Rashi and Chalvav said, or even more than the truth is even more than just, the Rashi here directed us to the Gemora and Chalvav on the base. Chalvav on the base, the Beitsa actually says, he was eating grapes and left over grapes, he put them on the roof to turn into raisins. So if he was eating the grapes, for sure, they were chayiv, he had brought them in to eat. I assume that means they were finished product that he probably took Meiser. So on Daf Chavav I would have no clear understanding, because maybe they did take Meiser already, maybe they didn't take Meiser already. But in our Gemora, where our Gemora is not mentioning anything about having eaten before, we just said we have fruit that needs to be designated on Erev Shabbos. And we say if you went up and you designated whichever fruit you're going to eat, it works. And it sounds like you can eat it on Shabbos, right? That's the whole point of this Hazmana. You want to eat it on Shabbos. And what if it had been a regular year where you have Meiser problems? Sounds like it would have been Chayv and Meiser. So it sounds like in our Gemora, the very fact that you're going to use it for Shabbos both overcomes the problem that it hasn't been finished, and it also overcomes the other problem that hasn't reached the house. It's like it went up to the roof. You didn't necessarily bring it into the house. Although you could argue you brought it into the house to put it on the roof. How do they get us to get up to the roof?
With some of these roofs, Chatzer, huh?
Therefore what? They would have the halacha of the Chatzer.
Yeah.
So it would be as good as putting in the Chatzer. I don't know. That's a good question. It kind of makes it sound like the Gag is not the same as the Chatzer, because if we're saying we'll use our Mishnah as a source for the answer, and we're trying to figure out what happens if Shabbos can help you overcome both problems, then it sounds like we're replacing the Chatzer as well.
That's a question to ask.
Yeah, but if you're asking that question, can Shabbos replace the Chatzer? Meaning Shabbos makes it Chayiv even if it hasn't reached the Chatzer. And you want to bring our Mishnah as a proof, yes, it must be, because look what it says in our Mishnah, that if he brought it up to the Gag and it did Hazmana, if it had been a regular year, they would have had a problem of Meiser. Now, if the Gag is the same thing as a Chatzer, then it's not a proof to our question. Our question was, can Shabbos overcome the fact that you haven't yet brought it to the Chatzer? Or the house? And if our case is where it's he brought it to the roof, as if he brought it to the Chatzer, then it's not at all a good answer to our question. You follow what I'm saying?
The roof is not a good answer.
Again, is the roof like a Chatzer would have the same halacha? That if you bring it into a roof, it's like you brought it into a Chatzer and it's Chayiv and Meiser? So I would think, no. Why? Because the Gemora says that will prove to you what happens when you bring it up to the roof, that Shabbos can overcome the fact that you're having it brought into your Chatzer. But if the roof is like a Chatzer, so then what do you mean I haven't brought it to the Chatzer? I did bring it to the Chatzer. Put it on the roof. Roof is like Chatzer. So it seems like roof and Chatzer do not go together.
So how do this family eat with these raisins that are drying off in the Chatzer without taking them out and reach the Chatzer because they're unfinished?
In the second Mishnah there, where the family's eating, why exactly are they eating something that wasn't Meiser?
Right.
Because it's not a finished product.
It's not a finished product, yeah. So it's considered a snack?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if we did the Rashis. I can't remember if we did any of those Rashis. So perhaps I want to go back and do all the Rashis on this.
We did the long Rashi yesterday.
Which one is that? Tinokos Shitamus remaining.
I mean, it's I think a good idea to go back and do it.
Then,
mostly because we can read it.
Okay. Brave one.
Huh?
I'll be the brave one. Which one?
The Rashi seems to be better.
From the beginning of the Gemora?
Well, listening to you. Yeah?
Tinokos Shetamnu Tnaim, the kids that hit the figs. The Sadeh, in the field or beginner in the garden. Achila Shabbos, for to eat on Shabbos, v'shachu lo asur, if the guard didn't take myself to fix. It says lo yachlu, so the loch is not allowed to eat them. Alpha God the kaimelon, we know we hold, ein hatibel mischayev b'maisa la'achla achilas orai. Tibel is not chayiv in eating temporary snack until actually yireh pnei habayis. Until it's seen in front of the house, or pnei hachatzel, or in front of the courtyard, inside. Okay. Baba Mitzia b'soches haparim. As we say, Achila Shabbos chashuva. Eating Shabbos is chashuv arah shaloi. And its temporariness, haruhu kava. It's fixed. Harehut.
What does it mean? Achila Shabbos. Chashuva, we know what that means. The food of Shabbos is fixed. But Arei Shalom Hirei. Okay, so that even temporary food is seen as a meal.
Harehut manu l'achila Shabbos. Means they were hidden for Shabbos. Hook, bowl. Hook, bowl means what? Established. Had naka tenokos. That it mentions the kids. Revusi he. Tashmi. Kivon eshachidish. Yesh lahem machshava aridei maisa. It is for them a machshava, a thought through a maisa. The muchach kedamim b'hakol sheichtim. As we say in a kol sheichtim.
Where we say it again? Muchach?
Kamuchiach, when it's proven. Kedamim b'hakol sheichtim. We say in Chulin, it's einen davar shemik b'malachtim hu. Ta'enim is figs or something which is to end finished product. Ele im kain chashiv alehem. Ta'enim, oh wait, figs which are a fixed product. And ele im kain chashiv alehem. The soys or the grogos, and this is used for them for jam or for dried figs. Shmayimine, we learn from this, Davish Nibu Malachtoi, something that's its work is complete Shabbos Kavuas, the Maisa. Shabbos is fixed for Maisa, the lower rears Pnei bias. Even if it's not inside their house, even if the figs are not inside the house, it's still considered nicer. And something which is work is not finished, if it's fixed or it's not fixed, it's I need a cup or something.
What?
I need a cold drink.
Yeah, sure.
You getting one?
be honest with you, I'm not sure what the answer is.
Well, she's saying that nicer applies even something which is not finished. So if something that's used for temporary snack, even if it was inside the house. Oh wait, the finished product, no more than that, finished product is something that's not inside the house. Because the water it has to be in the house, right? It's not being a finished product. So if it's not inside the house, you hire mice nevertheless. Come back.
Okay. Where are we holding?
Finish the big Rashi.
Wow. Good for you. Okay, let's move on. It's all clear?
Yeah. Utznan hamave ta'inim. One who fixes, forces figs. Shoitach.
Spreads them out.
Ta'inim b'chazor. Spreads them out in the courtyard.
To dry.
L'tzois l'yavshan. L'sois mahen tzois. To make them dry, to make for them jam. L'achar shenasu kitzois. After they're made from jam, dorisim ba'agul. Tremble it with the circular instrument.
What's that?
Agul means a circular instrument, right?
Yeah.
It's like a jar. We put jam in a jar and they used to put their jam in a jar.
Okay, next Rashi.
Mm-hmm.
Bonov Ukmei Beitsa. Sons and the grandsons, right? Ochli mehem arai. Paturin l'aseh. They eat for them a snack and a potter for Beitsa. Ein chatzer kavus. Kurias panim. Chatzer is not for fixed for being inside, right? Only for something that's an end product. Lost from Rava Shabbos. Mi have a kachatze or antifa minay. Is it like a kachatze or is it something better than that?
What?
It says the Shabbos, right?
Yeah.
Mi have a kachatze. Is it like a courtyard?
It's a question, right?
Yeah, this Shabbos is like a courtyard. It's was it better than that? What's this?
Well, prefer,
So what's it asking? What are we trying to say?
I'm not sure.
So we're saying Chotzer is not fixed. Only for something that's the work is complete. So we're saying is it Chotzer like Shabbos or is it a different minay? Is it better than that?
So I think he's asking the question, is Shabbos like a Chotzer?
Yes.
Or a different meaning?
Better.
Or is it better? Preferred? That's the question. Okay. Mahara.
שתקבע מוקצה למעשה. What's the din of muktzah? Establish muktzah for Maisa. Muktzah hayinu loy nigmar melachtai. Muktzah, the work is not done. What's the din about muktzah for Maisa?
It's something that you cannot use.
Yeah. Lava shalad nigmar melachtai. Something that is not finished. Vishna Yiseru. It's Shorashim. Who perish muktzah? What's this? Vishna Yiseru. Who perish muktzah, right? Perish. Perish means he explains.
Yeah.
Lichti b'svar.
In the writings of the story,
So it comes a Kevin Tichsir Karwasa L'Shabbos Einik. It's called for Shabbos Einik, right? Kevin Akri Achila Didei Einik. Since they call the Achila of it pleasure, what's this? Given the Akri Akava She'ein Ba Oid Shamarai, and it's permanent, doesn't have any arai to it, and Sham Kivua. It's fixed, even something which is for a snack is called the.
Since they call the food of Shabbos Oleg, right?
Yeah.
It's Kavua, She'ein Ba or Sham. Alright, so there's no snacking. Even a snack is important. Ein Sham Kavua. It's Kavua, right?
Yes.
You can't snack in Shabbos. Even a snack becomes a meal.
Shabbos Kavos. In Yechida Shabbos, Asura, if it's designated for Shabbos, it's Asura.
Even what?
If it's set aside,
If he knows it,
Asura Af L'Motzei Shabbos. Even for Motzei Shabbos.
Yechida is set aside.
In Lo Yechida Shabbos, it's not set aside for Shabbos. Shabbos Asa. Therefore, Shabbos that is going to be Asa. L'chol she'achilasa olam kavahu kura. Really, all eating is fixed. Now, but on Motzei Shabbos, mutter to mutter. So anything that's not set aside for Shabbos is Asa. So any eating that you already do is going to be considered permanent, right?
Or Shabbos. Yeah, sure.
Next one.
Is that the time?
Yes, it's not time.
Yes. I'm here for
Sorry, let's go on. So, we have our Mishnah talking about Hazmana and Shvi'is. We have two Mishnahs from Meiser, which each adds this part of the focus on what is Chayiv and Meiser. Then, we have Rava's question.
Yeah.
And then we have Rav Nachman just answering that he knows the answer, and Rav Zera trying to bring a proof from our Mishnah. Let's start with the proof from our Mishnah. What happened to Shabbat time?
Just went down for a moment.
Where'd he go? Someone should have woken me up. Want to go tell him I'm up?
We'll do that.
Next time, just come over and poor man's gift. Or all right. So we go. I don't think we went through the Rashis that explain the proof from our Mishnah. You want to start with that? Ready for that? Shabbatai.
Sorry, that's good.
We have Rabbi Zera, I think it was, who brought our Mishnah as a proof to the answer that Rava was looking for. Marzutra. Right, Rav Nachman. Felt that our Mishnah is a good proof. Is that part clear? Before there's clear though?
What did he say? It's a good job. So what did he say?
Rav Nachman?
Yeah.
He said Shabbos overcomes everything.
Yeah.
And he had basically, what I understood him, he was saying a Kabbalah. He didn't have a proof from a particular Mishnah, he just said I have it in already Aruch, right? It's already by me as a arranged limud. Doesn't say where that is. So maybe we should start with that. What did he mean when he said that? Or we can go over other Rashis. I think there were earlier Rashis we skipped over. Whichever you want to do. You want to go over everything again?
I think so.
Alright. Tanan Hassan, should we start there then?
טען עושים לתינוק שטענו טענים.
Ta'anim.
So these kids were hiding טענים, Erev Shabbos and Erev Shabbos, שכחו ולא עשו. So they forgot to take my service.
Right.
במוצאי שבת לא הלכו אלא אם כן עשו. So they cannot eat from these tiny unless they take Shabbat my service.
Okay.
Titin Nami, Titin Nami, minute from the Mishnah.
Another Mishnah. Ma'avir.
Ma'avir, Ta'anim B'chatzro, that they...
Right now, just learned they brought it in.
Yeah,
For some reason, the word Ma'avir could have other connotations, but they seem to use the idea of just bringing them in.
Just got swords to draw.
Yeah.
But now when they go to Ochimahim, Araya, so that these kids and grandkids can eat from them as snacks. And pottery, and they're part of taking masters.
Right. Should we see the Rashis on that?
Tinokus Shetanu Ta'anim Basada.
We could do that one. That's the longer one we already did. Do that one. We want to skip that one.
Skip that one.
I'm going to skip two.
If we would skip, we would go to this Rashi's on the second Mishnah that was brought here. Tanan, Magar, Ta'anim, etc.
Okay, Ma'avir.
Ma'avir. Ma'avir, Ta'anim, Ma'avir, passes, figs. Shotach, Ta'anim, Ta'anim, B'chatzor. When he spreads it out in the courtyard.
Right, spreading it out. We see afterwards, partially was to get them dry, to dry them out. Okay, and then it says his intention is liktzos.
Liktzos, Yavsh, to fish.
Right, liyavshan. To dry them out. Why?
Vasas mehem kitzios. To make for them.
Like rings of jam.
After they make jam.
Well, maybe Katsios is not yet the jam part, because then it says after they make the Katsios, then they trample them, which is, I think, when it becomes more like a jam, when you trample it into the jar.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, the way I think we decided yesterday that this is in order to get it to the point where they're not yet finished. Even though we said before, Ta'anim are finished, but that's only if you really want them as a regular Ta'anim. But if you want to do something more to them, then it's not yet finished. That's why the next Rashi, Banav v'nei Beitsa,
Beitsa, the sons and the grandsons, Ochel Mahem Arai, wait for them Arai, which is temporary. The Potrim B'La'aseh, the Potrim from Ma'aseh, Ein Chatzer Kavas B'Yas Panim. Chatzer is not considered fixed inside, right? It's not considered inside. אלא בדובר שמניב גמור מלאכתה. Only if it's something that's a finished product. We consider a finished product inside take the mice inside the courtyard. You only take mice in the courtyard if it's finished product.
Right. Even in the house. Anytime it comes into the house or the chutzner, which is like the house, it has to be a finished product to be chayiv.
Rava, asked from Rava.
In other words, Rava asked a question.
Shabbos mi havik chotzer, or tifa minoni. Shabbos like a chotzer, or is it better than that?
If it's like a chutzner, then it only helps if the product's finished, we just said. If it's better than a chutzner, then even if it's not finished, it'll help. Right?
Boys are different meanings, it's better than chutzner.
It's better. Because chutzner can only make it chayiv if it's a finished product. Maybe that's all that Shabbos can do as well, to make it chayiv if it's a finished product. Or maybe it's better than the chutzner, because maybe even if it's not a finished product, it will be chayiv. Right, the second Mishnah just made the point, according to Rashi, that chutzner only helps if it's a finished product.
Yeah.
To make it chayiv. So maybe Shabbos is the same way. It'll only make it chayiv. Something that you're eating on Shabbos is only chayiv if it's a finished product. Or maybe it's better than the chutzner, that even though chutzner only works on a finished product to make it chayiv, but maybe the Shabbos is better, and it will even make something chayiv and meiser, even if it's not a finished product.
It's not a finished product. Chayiv and meiser. Now shetikba muktzah l'meiser. What is it in about muktzah for meiser, right?
Will it be koveya
for Masa.
Even muksa means something that's not yet finished. Muksa an example of something that's not yet finished, right? Like we said, if you put the grogurts, if you put the ta'anim on your roof, that means they're not yet finished. Muksa means you're now doing something to them to make them more of a finished product, but it's not yet a finished product.
Yeah. So the Dover is the next one. Next Rashi.
No, you have to read that Rashi. Muksa hainu.
Muksa hainu lo nikmara malachta.
The word muksa in this case is like synonymous with wasn't finished. Right? That's what makes something muksa. It's not finished. Not everyone would want to eat it.
Dover shlo nikmara malachta. Something that the product is not finished.
Which Rashi just said, by saying muksa, you're already saying it's lo nigmar malachta. So why say actually shelo nigmar malachta? It's like repetitious, right? Muksa and lo nigmar malachta. Rashi says muksa itself means lo nigmar malachta. So what is lo nigmar malachta? So Rashi says lishna. It's what?
Extra lotion.
It's repetitive. Right? It's extra because it's repetitive. You already just said muksa, meaning it's not finished. So then why do you have to actually spell out that it's not finished? That's redundant. If it's redundant, it's extra. If it's extra, then we have to know what it's there for. What's it teaching us? And Rashi explains.
Uperisha muksa nichta b'sfarim.
It's actually the explanation of what muksa is. Muksa is lo nigmar malachta, so that's what it is. It was written into the svarim. Either that makes it like just the Perush was written in, or he's saying it's all the svarim. This is written, so we know it's extra wording.
So you say anything?
Rashi is saying it's a Perush that was written in all the Svardim. So either he's trying to explain why this extra wording is not a problem, because maybe he's saying it really was not supposed to be part of the original text, but someone wrote in a Perush of the word muksa into the Svardim. It's like somebody came along and did a Rashi, wrote extra words to explain what muksa meant. So it doesn't mean now it's actually not extra anymore. It's just a Perush is written in, like Rashi's written into our Gemora, but someone wrote in a Perush. Or Rashi's actually saying, in all the Svarim, these are extra words. It's not like some editions have it, some editions don't. All of them have these extra words. So they all are clearly meant to be there. So he's either explaining why they're not extra, or he's saying they are extra, but they're in all the Svarim. Either way, we'll have to see what Rashi does with it. Okay, so the next Rashi is already in the question of Rava. Rava included in his question that Shabbos might actually even work if it's lo nigmar malachta, because it says in the pasuk in Yeshaya v'karas l'Shabbos onig. Somehow the fact that it's written in a pasuk in Yeshaya, the mitzvah of onig Shabbos, that was part of the reason why it might be so strong. Shabbos might be so strong as to overcome lo nigmar malachta. What's the logic in that? Rashi.
Since we call it Achila Oneg,
the Torah calls it Oneg. The Torah gives it a special name.
Kalvash Ein Ba Oid Sham Orai. Shem Orai. Doesn't have anything temporary.
You're not translating the word kava.
It's not fixed.
What?
Kava means that it's fixed.
It fixed it. It made it permanent. It gave it a permanence. So let's read it again. Kivan de ikri achila didok oneg. Since the eating of Shabbos got a special name called oneg, the Torah called it oneg. Therefore, kava, that gives it a permanence, that gives it a chashivus. Shein ba'od shem arai, that it will no longer be called arai. Even if you eat a snack on Shabbos, it's not called arai anymore. Because of the pasuk in Yeshaya that's calling it oneg, it will already elevate it to a status of kavua.
Yeah.
As if every snack on Shabbos is like a real proper meal. Ella
Shem Kava.
Right, notice he's saying it won't be called achilas orai anymore, it'll be called achilas kava. Shem kava means it'll be called a permanent kind of an eating. Okay, but I think Rashi had already expressed that to us, that now we're going to call every achila on Shabbos kava. If it's kava, then you can't say I'm only eating a snack. You're not just eating a snack, you're eating a proper meal. Then it's chayav and meiser. So Shabbos kavas.
Shabbos Kavas.
Who's saying this?
In Yechida LeShabbos.
I think this is Rav Nachman's answer. Yeah. If you look at the first words on the line are Roshei Tevos Aleph Lamed Amar Leis, this is Rav Nachman answering Rava back. Yes, Shabbos Kovas. Shabbos is Kovea, everything, whether it's Nigmar or not. Rashi said the pshat is Shabbos Kovas.
In Yechida LeShabbos.
Yicheda l'Shabbos. If
it's fixed.
he designated it. Right? Miyuchad means it's designated, as special for that thing.
Shabbos Asura. It's also after the Motzei Shabbos.
So again, Im Yichda l'Shabbos, if what?
Designated for Shabbos.
Right. So you haven't even eaten it on Shabbos. You just want to eat it on Shabbos. You made an effort to set it aside for Shabbos, before Shabbos. Then it's Asura.
Asura after Motzei Shabbos.
That's like an extra chiddush, right? Which is really a chiddush that came up earlier in the Mishnah that was brought. Even on Motzi Shabbos, they can't eat it. And you would think, well, on Shabbos, if I want to eat it, I need to take meiser. But if after Shabbos, it's not chashuv anymore. No. Once it was already designated for Shabbos, it got already the chashivus of Shabbos. It's already chayiv and meiser. Now that doesn't go away on Motzi Shabbos. The lo yichda, if he hadn't designated it for Shabbos,
Shabbos Asur.
And then just on Shabbos you decide to eat some food that hadn't been meisered, but you never set it aside for Shabbos, so maybe it doesn't become chayiv and meiser, because maybe you didn't set it aside for Shabbos. No. The Shabbos Asur. It's still going to be Asur on Shabbos. L'kol, l'kol. For everything. Right? No matter what you eat it for on Shabbos, it's Asur to eat it without meisering. So he's making two divisions now. He's saying if you just designated something for Shabbos, then it's chayiv for sure. And even on Motzi Shabbos, still a chayiv. But if you never designated something, then it's only going to be chayiv on Shabbos. Anytime you want to eat it on Shabbos, it will be chayiv.
What about Motzi Shabbos?
But it sounds like Motzi Shabbos it won't be chayiv. Because you never designated it, so just the fact that it was a food that was in your house on Shabbos isn't enough.
Yeah.
It has to be more heavily associated with Shabbos to become permanently chayiv and meiser. So if it's been designated for Shabbos, it's not permanently chayiv and meiser, no matter when, even Motzi Shabbos. But if you haven't permanently designated it for Shabbos, then it's not permanently chayiv and meiser, but on Shabbos it's still chayiv.
Yeah.
Shachilasa
Shechilasa
le'olam
kaveh.
kava. Because eating on Shabbos is always called kava. Anytime you put food in your mouth on Shabbos, bingo.
Why is it also Motzei Shabbos?
He was talking before about if you designated it for Shabbos, then it already has a din of being chayiv and meiser. Now he's talking about something you didn't designate for Shabbos, but on Shabbos you still have to meiser it if you want to eat it.
On Shabbos you still have to come on. You can't eat
There's two categories: food that you designated for Shabbos and food that you haven't yet designated for Shabbos. He's saying Shabbos will always make something chayiv and meiser, but in a different way. If you designated it for Shabbos, that's it. It's already been chayiv and meiser no matter when. Now it's going to have to be meiser.
Yeah.
Even Motzi Shabbos.
And that's what happened to the kids, right?
Yep. Exactly. That's probably where Rashi got that. I don't know why he didn't just go over this there. This has more to do with that Mishnah than now, but Rashi waited till now to talk about it. So if he designated it for Shabbos, that's it. It's Shabbos-dik. So it's chayiv and meiser no matter when you eat it now.
I think he makes the point. They forgot it. They actually forgot about it. It doesn't matter. They designated it. They put it away. They forgot about it. They still cannot eat it.
Right.
You know.
So if I didn't designate it for Shabbos, you can eat it.
Not in Shabbos.
When?
Motzei Shabbos.
Yeah.
But not on Shabbos.
But Rashi's saying even if you didn't designate it, but if you actually want to eat it on Shabbos, you still have to meiser it. Meaning it's going to be still usher on Shabbos to eat it.
So how do you master it on Shabbos?
You can't, so that means that makes it usher. Therefore it's usher.
Right. So is that muktzah?
So basically any food that hasn't been meisered is usher to eat on Shabbos. The question will be, what about Motzei Shabbos? Does it remain chayiv and meiser then, and you can't eat it till you meiser it? So then Rashi's saying it depends. Did you designate it for Shabbos?
Yes.
If so, then the chiyuv to meiser will continue to go with it into the next week. But if you just happen to have food on Shabbos, but you didn't actually designate it for Shabbos, it was just in somewhere next to your house or whatever, then it doesn't become chayiv automatically. On Shabbos you can't eat it because as soon as you put it in your mouth, you're eating a chila kava. And we already said that the only time you're allowed to eat fruit that wasn't meiser without meisering is that if you eat it arai. So by definition, anytime you try to eat a food on Shabbos, it's kava. Because any eating on Shabbos is kava. So that would require meiser, so therefore you can't eat it.
Yeah.
But
So obviously the second example, the second Mishnah talks about the sons and the grandsons eating, means it wasn't designated.
we're not even talking about
We're
Shabbos.
not talking about Shabbos. Yeah.
Not talking about Shabbos in that Mishnah. It's a whole parak before the other Mishnah. It has nothing to do with Shabbos. Just has trying to bring out the point of what does chatzar do to fruit that's not finished.
He's basically he's comparing the Shabbos to Beitsa. Yeah, basically.
Well, that was the question, according to Rashi, that was the question that Rava had. Is it like chatzar, which is koveya, but only for one particular thing? Meaning if it wasn't finished being processed, then it's not chayiv. Or is it even better than chatzar? So then Shabbos will make it chayiv even if it's not finished. Keep getting hot, and then I get cold.
You already had some onion. You have any
No, I'm fine. I mean, this is fine. For me, this is fine.
It's actually quite cool in here. I think it's over good.
Yeah. I'm glad that...
I'm thinking of putting one of these in my house. My wife wants.
Dirty Agorot. Alright. So, I think it's pretty simple, right? Chatzar overcomes one thing, meaning if it's not kavua, and you bring it into Chatzar, now it's kavua, but only if it's a finished product. But Shabbos, according to this new answer of Rav Nachman, even if it's not a finished product, Shabbos, in other words, no matter what, if you have a meiser of food before Shabbos, you cannot eat it on Shabbos. No question. Whether you designate it for Shabbos or just, it's right now Shabbos, and you want to eat on Shabbos, so it's the same thing. But the point the Rashi was bringing, which is an interesting point, that if you designate it for Shabbos, then it carries together with it already into Motzi Shabbos that same halacha. Whereas if you never designated for Shabbos, just it happened to be on Shabbos when we were talking about can I eat it or not, you said no, it hasn't been meiser, can't eat it, that's not going to carry on to Motzi Shabbos.
Pretty straightforward.
Okay. So last few words on Rashi, the first wider line in Rashi where he says V'im lo yichda l'Shabbos.
V'im lo yichda l'Shabbos, Shabbat asur.
Right.
So if it's not sustainable, if it's not fixed for Shabbos, it's thought about
if it's not designated for Shabbos, hasn't been designated for
then
Shabbos,
it's not suitable.
it's still usher to eat on Shabbos. She, and Rashi explains why. Achilasa,
ככל שאכילסה לעולם קבוע.
he.
So all food,
Any eating.
any eating,
Of it. Achilasa is like saying any eating of it, any Shabbos eating, any munching of food on Shabbos
is generally kavua.
is what? No, L'olam here means always. Forever. Like forever and ever will always be considered kavah. It's impossible to put food in your mouth on Shabbos without someone pointing to you and say, he's now eating a Suda.
In other words, it has to have ma'aser taken to it.
That's right. You can't say, well, I'm only eating a snack, and I never designated for Shabbos. Yeah, but it is Shabbos, and now every time you put food in your mouth on Shabbos, it's considered a full-fledged meal. As we said before, because of the only thing. Right? So, La'olam kavahi karuya. It's called kavah. That's it. Anytime you put food in your mouth on Shabbos, you just ate a meal. Theoretically, as far as meiser is concerned. So therefore, you'd have to have meiser did if you hadn't meisered it yet, so you can't eat it. Aval, but that kind of food that you never appointed it for Shabbos, just it happened to be that on Shabbos you wanted to eat it and you knew you couldn't.
B'matzah Shabbos, mutar.
Kidul kamon.
It's going to be discussed later.
Right. Okay, so Rashi helped us to understand the different categories here. Different categories. Designated for Shabbos or not designated for Shabbos. On Shabbos itself, it doesn't matter. No matter what, you can't eat food that wasn't meiser.
So somebody used to, I forget who it was, used to pick a food on Monday for Shabbos and find a better food on Tuesday for Shabbos. Shama, yeah. So in the fact that he picked the food on Monday and found a better food on Tuesday, it means that the first food would have had to have had ma'aser taken from it.
It was mostly talking about the cow in those Gemoras. But yeah.
Cow.
Yeah, he said if he found a cow that was looked like a juicy cow, he'd say this will be like the cow that I checked for Shabbos, and he'd find a juicier looking cow. I mean, you and I don't even know how to evaluate a cow, but apparently there's juicier cows and less juicy cows. So Shammai, who apparently knew what he was talking about, could say, on Sunday I found a cow, he said this would be for my Shabbos. The next day I found a cow that was even juicier, so then I said the first one, I'm taking away from Shabbos, now the second one I'm committing to Shabbos. But you're right. If you had done something like that with ta'anim or some other food, and if it seems like it would be a full-fledged designation.
Pretty straightforward, right? Yeah.
Okay. Now, the next Rashi.
So today, if you buy fruit from a shop that's not being mastered, whether you've chosen it for Shabbos or not, you need to master the fruit.
If you want to eat it on Shabbos.
And if you don't want to eat it on Shabbos?
So that you have to know. It could be anytime a shop owner has it inside of his store, maybe that's like it saw already the house, so to speak. Let's assume that, let's say the farmer, we'll start with the farmer. He harvested, he brought it into his barn, but his whole reason for bringing it to the barn was to sell it to the other wholesalers or whatever.
I'll tell you what I'm asking, because one of the guys that I learned with at night says they don't buy this from this particular store, they buy everything from the store, don't buy the veggie because there's a doubt where the maestros has been taken away. It's a funny thing, right?
Why?
Because if it's in the store, right? If it's in the store, it needs maestros taken.
Theoretically.
He's saying that maybe it's not being taken.
Right. And then you won't realize it and you might make a mistake. But I would say even before the store, you have the fact that the farmer, when he harvested, he brought it into a barn. He brought it into some kind of a storage area. I would think that already made a chayiv and meiser.
Unless they buy from Arab.
Okay, if you buy from an Arab, then there's a whole shita like on shvita, etc. The same thing for tumas and meisers, whether it has any kedusha whatsoever. Could be if a goy owns land in Eretz Yisrael, there's no kedusha, but that's a machlokus whether the goy takes away the kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. It would explain why there's a mitzvah to buy land away from goyim, right? Not to let them keep the land in Eretz Yisrael, because they'll take the kedusha away. But there's other reasons possibly why there's a mitzvah to buy land away from them.
Okay.
Next Rashi.
Now the next Rashi is actually in the next part of the Gemora that we kind of maybe read it quickly, I don't know, but this was Marzutra saying, Marzutra the son of Rav Nachman saying, we believe the Mishnah here in Beitsa is also proof for what Rav Nachman, I think his father said, right? What did Rav Nachman say? That yes, Shabbos makes a food chayiv and meisers, whether or not it's a finished product or not. And Marzutra, the son of Rav Nachman, is coming along and saying, yeah, and we feel this Mishnah in Beitsa even proves it. So now he's going to be going through the Mishnah and bringing a diuk from the Mishnah about this exact question of Rava. So let's see it on the inside of the Gemora, and then we'll see it hopefully with Rashi.
And this Mishnah that he's talking about is on the Shviyashu, where there's no maestros involved, right?
The one where?
The Mishnah.
Here in Beitsa?
Yeah.
It seems to be avoiding the problem of Meiser, because it's talking about Shemitah, but inside of that is a diuk that's saying a normal year would have been a problem with Meiser. So that's what we're going to look to. Why did you have to run to Shemitah to get rid of the problem of Meiser? Just say it's not a finished product. right? Because according to Rashi, we're dealing with grogos and simukim here. You put it on the roof to turn it into raisins, but it's not yet raisins. That's why you need hazmana, like the Gemora said before in Kavav. Why do you need hazmana? If it's already finished, you don't need hazmana. If it's not finished and it's not edible, then even hazmana won't help. So we said that you need hazmana in a case where it's a little bit fit for eating and a little bit not fit for eating. Okay, so that's called, basically, without doing hazmana, you can't eat it because what? It's not finished. Right?
So even on Shabbos, that food.
So I know I'm dealing with food that wasn't finished, right?
Once you've made hazmana on that food, you're going to eat it on Shabbos. When it becomes right, just have master.
Exactly. That's going to be the proof. You had to go to a case of shvi to say I can eat it now on Shabbos once I do the hazmana because I don't worry about Meiser on Shemitah. But that implies that a normal year you would have had to worry. Why would you have to worry? It's not a finished product yet.
It's designation.
Except you could argue that the very fact that I'm doing hazmana, which you could say is like Rashi called yichud, right? Designating. But when Rashi talked about designating, he was talking about designating something that was definitely not a finished product yet. Here we're saying the te'enim are somewhere in the middle. When I do hazmana, what am I really saying? That for me it's a finished product. Because I want to eat it tomorrow. If I'm declaring I want to eat it tomorrow, that means to me it's a finished product. So maybe it's not a proof to Rava's question. Rava wanted to know something that's legitimately not finished. Will Shabbos be koveya? He says, well, look at this guy. He did hazmana on something that wasn't finished, and now we say if it wasn't Shemitah, you wouldn't be able to eat it. Because it needs Meiser. So you see, Shabbos does make it chayiv and Meiser, even if it's not finished. But I would argue, what do you mean? That is finished. You know why it is finished? Because he came Erev Shabbos and declared, I want to eat it tomorrow. To me, it's a finished product. That's what we said. We're dealing with something that's a little bit edible, a little bit not edible. It needs hazmana because it's not quite edible, but it's not edible. It's something in the middle. So, therefore, when I come up to it on Erev Shabbos and I say I want to eat from it, I'm making a declaration that now I've decided it's a finished product. That's why I'm going to eat it tomorrow. That's what I think maybe you could say. I don't know. In any event, okay. So that's what.
I mean, if it wasn't finished and he knew it wasn't going to be finished, he wouldn't designate. The fact that
somewhere
he's
in the middle.
designating it.
Somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. It's like a fruit. Like you ever eat a banana that wasn't quite ripe? It's not purely green, but it's a little bit green.
Isn't there tonight here somewhere?
What?
I will eat this food if it's ripe, and if it's not ripe, I won't eat this food.
You could do that, but nobody said he does that. Nobody's saying he does that. We're not dealing with a case where he said he's going to do that.
No, and I'm thinking this is a good way around this. Right?
Oh.
So you might say if it's right, I'm going to eat it. And you need to take, but if it's not right, I'm going to eat it if you take it.
Maybe. I don't know. Think about that. But the way he's doing it over here is coming up and make a declaration about this food. Okay, so let's see what Mar Zutra said. Let's go back to the Gemora. Amar Mar Zutra, Breda Rav Nachman, Afana Namitamina. Not only did my father say he knew the answer, but I think we even have a real mission to back up the answer. That what? I'm reading from the Gemora, and then we'll go back to the Rashi if we have time. The Gemora is, Amar Mar Zutra is on the line that starts Shalom Nigmar Malachto. It's about 10 lines up from the bottom. You see it? Surely you have it?
Yeah.
Amar Mar Zutra, Breda Rav Nachman, Afan Nami Tanina.
Amar Zutra, right?
Mar Zutra,
I see.
Ray Rav Nachman. Sounds like it's Rav Nachman's son. Rav Nachman just gave an answer. The son said, I even have a mission to back up my father.
It's a good son.
Yeah. And that quotes our Mishnah in Beitsa. Afan Nami Tanina means I also learned it, and we also learned it in a Mishnah. Now he's quoting the Mishnah. V'od, Amar Rabbi Eliezer.
Omed Aram al Amukza, Erev Shabbos, and you can stand next to Mukza Erev Shabbos, B'Shvi'is, on the Shvita, etc.
Okay. And he tells us each Tana has his own way of doing a Hazmana, depending on Breyer, etc. But in the end of the day, the Hazmana works, right? Whatever Hazmana you need, if you did that Hazmana, it works, right? But he says, Taima, the reason why the Hazmana works and allows you to eat it on Shabbos, to Shvi'is, is because it's Shemitah. And what's so special about Shemitah? The lav isurei, because it's not a bar isurei. What does that mean? Bar means shayach, right? Like a bar mitzvah means he's now shayach to the mitzvahs. He's now pertinent to the mitzvahs, right? Or the mitzvahs are pertinent to him. Bar means part of to that thing. Shaykh to that thing. So the reason why Shemitah was picked, obviously, like Rashi said before, is because it's a special year that you do not need to take Meiser, and that's what we were looking for. To find a case, it's not Chayv and Meiser, so all I need is Azmana. But that leads us to what? The Diuk.
So what is this? The reason is that Shemitah, the love.
The reason, you have to add a new word. When it says the reason, it means the reason why the halacha is true. The reason why the Mishnah tells you can eat it on Shabbos after you do the hazmana that was recommended by each Tana. The word taima, the word reason, is like a catchword. You have to add a lot in yourself when you see that word. It's like saying the reason why this Mishnah says you can eat it on Shabbos if you do the right hazmana is only because it's Shemitah. The Mishnah made a contingent on it being Shemitah. Which leads, and the thing about Shemitah that is special is because it's not a time that you need to take Meiser. It's not a bar isuri, not a time when you need to take Meiser. So the diuk is what? Behold, that leads us to the conclusion that what? Shnei Shvua, on the rest of the days of the Shemitah cycle, so too it will be Asur. Asur meaning Chayv and Meiser, and therefore Asur. So I see that on a regular Shabbos, it's not Shemitah, and he came Erev Shabbos and looked at this fruit that wasn't yet finished, and he said, I want to eat from this tomorrow. That became Chayv and Meiser. On a regular year, that would be Chayv and Meiser, and therefore Asur to eat, without having Meiser taken. But why? My taima. What's the reason? It must be lav. Lav means, it's a rhetorical question. Is it not true that it's mishum kavah?
Shabbos makes it
made it kavua. So even though it wasn't a finished product, Shabbos made it kavua at Chayv and Meiser, despite the fact that it's not a finished product. So that answers Ravo's question. Shabbos was able to be koveya even without it reaching the chatzar and even without it being a finished product. That's what he wanted to know. It's better than chatzar. It works even on an unfinished product. So Mar Zutra feels happy that he found a Mishnah to back his father up. The good son.
Yes.
So the Gemora says, Lo, no, tennis today. Lo, shiny Hasem. It's different over there in Maseches Beitsa. Why? Mikanani Ocha. Once he said, I want to eat from this tomorrow, once he did the Hazmana, Mikanani Ocha L'Machar, that itself was Kavalei Eluye. That itself made it Kavua. That made it Kavua. Maybe the designation made it Kavua.
What's on the end?
What? On it. It was Kovea on it. Okay, we'll have to stop here. So you might mean like I was saying, the fact that he said he wants to eat it makes it finished. For me, it's a finished product. You wouldn't want to eat something that's not finished. So you're declaring that for you it's a finished product.
Right.
So it's still not just answer Rava, who's talking about a thing that really wasn't finished. Sorry, usually I put down my head at least for a few minutes
Food for thought.
before we learn, and today people occupied my time the whole lunch hour, so I wasn't able to rest not even a cat's wink.
Alright, we forgive you.
Thank you.
Alright, I know what time this is all about.
Yeah.
I can get away with 5 minutes during the day, you know? And I sit in my chair, put my hand up there, and I'm gone. 5 minutes later,
Right, that's how I am as well.
you need to take
That's
on
enough.
the world.
In fact, I prefer that in a way because then you don't get so groggy from the nap itself.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I try to do that, but then I end up leaning back in the chair and it's more like lying down, and then
Yeah. If I have a half an hour sleep in the day, at night I'm in real trouble.
well, I don't have that problem. But
Do you want me to take some of these?
can you please take them all?
Sure.
Thank you.
Put them down and I'm going to the cocktail tomorrow.
That's great.
You see what happened today?
What?
The wows.
What happened?
There was
Oh, because of Rosh Chodesh.
There's a huge war there today.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, well, that's what they call themselves. Wow. So what else do you expect then? A wow
I
moment.
think they're trying to illegally now stop them from going there.
Well, let's put it this way. It's so funny, like they talk about the sanctity of the Koso, but they're destroying the sanctity of the Koso. Like they don't care about the
No, but
sanctity of the Koso.
yeah. Reformers, secular, left wings,
Yeah.
the De Niros of this world.
Yeah.
He's
The
done a
ones
lot
who
of
openly
damage.
declare they don't have high intellect.
He's got a lot of damage. He's done a lot of damage there. People look up to him actually.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately,
Our modern day heroes.
they get used to, I think partially get used to it because that's, if you think about it, that is
the language of the day.